So the whole purpose of this next little podcast is this. I want you to be able to look at a rational or irrational number and say, hey, wait a second. You're rational and you're irrational. Yay! Okay. I want you to be able to recognize them quite quickly. So remember a couple things. Let's look at the details. Remember what a rational number is. A rational number, look for the ratio. Ratio, of course, meaning fraction, right? What kind of fractions can you get? Well, any kind of fractions. Anything like a half or even 4/3. It doesn't matter. Those are considered to be rationals. Those are fractions, right? But remember, you can always convert the fraction to a decimal. What kind of decimals you get are really, really important. The decimals that make them rationals are the ones that repeat. Something like 0.3333 and on and on and on and on. Also, the ones that terminate. For example, like you know and I know, 1/2 is 0.5. That terminates. That means it ends. There is no other decimals after that. See what I mean? There are no numbers after 0.5. It terminates. It's over. It's done. Those are all rationals. Okay. Now, remember what an irrational means. Irrational means not terminating. That means, though, if you put them on your calculator, they look like they go on forever and ever and ever. Case in point, best one I can think of, let me show you on the calculator. Best one I can think of is the square root of 2. Check this out. Square root of 2 just keeps going. 1.4142135662. Notice a couple things that we talked about back here. There is no repeating. So that means there's no pattern to this. Okay? And pattern. Oh, geez, I forgot how to spell pattern. There we go. Non-terminating, filled up the entire screen, non-repeating with no pattern. And the most important thing is it can't be made into a fraction. Look at this thing. Look at it. 1.414213562. It looks like this is going to go on and on and on and on and on and on, doesn't it? And it fills up the entire display full of decimals. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an irrational number. Well, then what could be another irrational number? Well, look at this. Anything that's square rootable, chances are irrational. Look at that. 2.236067977. Oh, wait a second. Hey, you said there's no repeats. What about here, right? Could this be 777 after that? Well, honestly, because your calculator kind of ends right there on this number, that means it may have rounded to give you the 7. See what I mean? So there is a technique I'm going to show you right away how to use this calculator to prove that this guy is actually an irrational number. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so it's coming up. Let's go here. It's actually the way to do it. Is something called the math frac button on your calculator. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes, okay? We can't convert that. You'll see, we can't convert things like root 2 and root 5 into a fraction. It's just not going to work. Okay, so without any further ado, let me show you how it works. Oop. Okay, first, let's do this calculator note. Okay, convert this into a decimal. Let me show you how it works. Steps, right here. Step 1, put the number in your calculator. Duh, no kidding. Okay, number 2, if the number is repeating, fill the screen. So if it's something like 8.3, if your number is 8.3, repeating, put down 8.3333. Fill the screen as much as you can. Okay? So I'm going to do that with you right now. Let's go back to our calculator. Let's clear this out. Okay? And let's do this. Watch. Watch. Let's clear this out. So I'm going to go 8.333 and just fill it. As many threes as you can get. Okay? Guys who are gamers can do this really, really well. Okay, see what I mean? You got it. Now, there's a cool function on your calculator, and it's all underneath here. There's a whole bunch of functions under the math thing. So if you click on that, right, boom, look what comes up. The first thing that comes up is arrow frac. That's going to take your answer, whatever is in your calculator right now, and it's going to make it into a fraction. So how do you access this? Real simple. You can either push 1 or any of the numbers that are there. You can push 1 or just hit enter because it's highlighted. So I'm going to hit enter. Look what it's going to do. It's going to take that 3, and it's going to try to make it into a fraction. All you have to do is hit enter again. Watch this. Yoink. And look at that. That's 25 over 3. 8.33 repeaters, actually 25 over 3. Isn't that cool? Okay, so with that in mind then, watch this. So again, this is all written right here. Think about it. How do you do this? Enter into the entire screen. Hit the math button. Notice that the first thing that comes up is math frac. Then it's going to, as soon as you hit it, as soon as you hit enter, right, it's going to have that little symbol on the end, which means take that whole thing, make into a frac, and when you hit enter, that's exactly what pops up. Way too cool. 25 over 3. So let's go back then and let's talk about this idea of root 2 not being able to become a fraction, which makes it irrational. So obviously 8.333, since you can make it into a fraction, this guy, of course, is rational. Okay? Now, let's go back to this idea of root 2 then. You ready for this? Okay, here we go. Back into our calculator. Yoink. Clear this out of here. Boom. All right, let's put in the second square root of 2. Got it? Hit enter. Now, to prove that this, in fact, is irrational, hit the math button. Hit the frac button, and it's going to take this whole answer of 1.14213562, and it's going to try to make it into a fraction. Look what happens if you hit enter. Boom. It gives you the exact same decimal back. That calculator is now telling you, I can't make it into a fraction. So guess what? This is irrational, and we'll call it a Q bar. Watch again. Remember the other one I tried was square root of 5, right? Oops, that didn't come up. Here we go. Let's try this. Second square root of 5. Check this out. Boom. Again, try to do the math frac on this and watch what happens. Okay, ready? Math, frac. There it is. Take that whole answer and fraction it. And look at this. Spits it right back at you, telling you, guess what? This as well is a Q bar. It will not make it into a fraction. That's what I wanted to show you. Okay? So now you've got a real powerful tool at your disposal. That's on your calculator. That's that math frac stuff. That's just way too cool.